Ciao. It's Chris Black
So far,
and Jason Stewart. What's going on, big bro?
Oh, you know, Versace, Prada. These are the words to say.
Yeah, there's a big acquisition today. I'm on the ground.
Acquisizione.
I'm on the ground here. I'm not reporting it, but you know, it's the news has already broke that the Prada.
Lauren Sherman is going to cover it, I'm sure.
I think she actually broke the story and was correct on the number even, which is kind of what hinges.
Is nailing the number, is that what separates the women from the girls?
I think it's more, yes, but I also think just getting anything right before it happens, the number makes it
Sounds
feel
like my husband. I wish he just gets something right once in a while. The thing that I mean, obviously Versace, a very popular clothing brand that has existed for whatever, 100 years, blah, blah, blah. For them to be acquired for less money than like a La Croix dupe that some chick made 4 years ago is a little, the times there are changing, you know, like some
yeah.
like some protein bar company is getting acquired for like 10x this.
Yeah, David Protein went for $1. No, I mean honestly,
But like I was trying to compare it to, so it's like 1.375 billion. Obviously, it's a fuck ton of money, but you know, in 2025, where we're pumping and dumping the world,
you're right.
It's a penny.
The prebiotic soda is going to go for as much. The poppy creamsicle flavor is going to.
Poppy was acquired like a month or two ago for more than that.
It's crazy. I mean, Versace's, for my money, one of the ugliest brands to ever exist, but it also has this amazing history. And unfortunately, the history does not reflect the price. You know,
you're the wrong kind of girl for Versace, but you know, it is such a rich history. But at a certain point, you know, that history it's history.
No, for sure. But I also think stuff like that is super kind of loud will always come back depending on the temperature of the world.
Ooh,
you know, like there will always be a point, you know, every decade where that kind of thing is cool again because of, you know, for whatever reason. That's my personal take on it.
I agree with you, except for the always part. I don't think it's an always. I think if somebody believed that it was going to come back again, it wouldn't have gone for such a small amount of coin. But, you know, we don't know the inner workings of these Italian houses, right? Well, I don't. You do.
No, I don't. I don't know I can't. No, these Italians walk too slow for me. I can't get anything out of
Italians, them. I mean, even in Milano, I feel like that's going to be the fastest moving Italian.
No, we were walking around all day, and it's just insane, man. Just like walking slow, stopping in the middle of the street. It's also busy, obviously. But I had to get inside before something bad happened.
So you were not participating in the when in Rome situation where when in Italy walk as the Italians do and live like they do. You just rejected it and said, I'm going to go look at Twitter in my room.
I mean, I didn't bring any skin tight suits, and I don't eat gelato during the day. But otherwise, no, I mean, you know what's interesting that I've noticed?
But to me, that's the whole point of traveling. I go to this place and I live as they do. So then when you return back to the hustle and bustle of NYC, you're rejuvenated and refreshed, and you miss all that rat piss and Blank Street.
No, I'm good on. I like to go to a place and do the good stuff, and leave. I don't really care about the full acclimation.
Okay.
But what I was going to say, what I've noticed that is surprising to me on this trip is that a lot of Italian men are wearing barber jackets, and for some reason that feels weird to me. Like, it feels like they're usually in something a little different, a little less like kind of outdoorsy, I guess. But the trend has even touched the men of Italy, which was surprising to me.
It's the Davide effect. So you're saying you don't, do you like the way it looks, or does it feel wrong seeing these Italianos wearing the national? I mean, Italians are good at being nationalists, so it makes sense for them to don the Barbure.
It's. I feel like it looks good. It looks good when it's
Francesco Barbure.
When it's like a big one and it's on top of a suit on like an adult man. You know what I mean? I think it's very cool. I think
and he's smoking a cig and he's like, no black, no black. It's like that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it on the young man. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. Doesn't work for me. Put on your ugly Balenciaga. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. Yeah, let's see here. Minecraft movie's doing well. Did you have anything?
We need to talk about the Weezer bassist wife shooting. This is breaking the internet from Stereo Gum to the New York Times. When's the last time a story has been on Stereo Gum, the New York Times, Pitchfork all at once, and TMZ?
And how long gone? Because the original crime took place on the 134 freeway, the gateway to Eagle Rock from Glendale. So just mere minutes, 3 minutes away from Mikasa.
Did you hear the shot? Did you hear the shot?
No. So like a couple days ago, I saw on the news, shout out KTLA5. They're like, a weird thing happened. There's a hit and run on the freeway, and 3 foos, I think, fled the scene on foot. It's always a good sign when you run away on foot from a freeway. Things are, you've got some warrants, you've got a reason to flee. They go into different people's backyards trying to hide. Some guy jumps in the pool. Maybe he's like, I'm about to get popped. At least I'll get a one last dip for a while or whatever.
It's very, very LA coded to have like the chopper KTLA flying above and watching a guy jump over fences, and it looks like it's in slow motion because they're so high up.
That's right.
It's a classic.
Right.
It's great. It's good television. It's nostalgic.
That's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
But then the story gets weird because one of the homies goes into someone's yard, and don't triple quote me on this, but Weezer bassist's wife comes out with a stick.
Weezer wife, just be clear, the Weezer wife bassist who is like a true crime reporter, basically.
She's a true crime enthusiast. I think she does podcasts. She apparently makes documentaries about serial killers that she has a habit of injecting herself into these stories of serial killers. So what my theory is, people who have guns and are obsessed with murder, they want to murder, and when you live in a California or a state where if somebody breaks into your house or even just onto your property, you're legally allowed to kill them.
This is your chance.
She's a spider. She's got her web set up. She catches a foo in the backyard. He's admiring the bougainvillea, et cetera, and she's like, oh shit, it's go time. It's live. I'm going to go pull out the stick out of the little cabinet in my office. We're doing Guy Talk style. It's a White Lotus reference. You wouldn't get it. She's got this guy in the crosshairs, and she's like, thank God I finally get to feel the sweet sting of murder on my shoulders. And then the police are like, drop it. And she's like, no. And then she's like, fuck you. This is my chance to kill. All I've wanted to do is kill. And then the police don't like it when you then take your gun and then point it at them.
I think the major issue is
that's attempted murder of a police officer right there. And Weezer chick is about to get, I don't know, 4 years.
I think she probably just pointed the gun at the I think this is probably a misunderstanding, and the cops are cops. You know what I mean? But I do think that.
Well, luckily they fired a non-lethal wound because she's Caucasian.
Yeah.
So
she got away with that. Yeah, she got away.
She was able to go into custody.
But I don't,
not in a body bag.
She'll get off. Those Weezer guys' pockets are deep. They're gonna get Johnny Cochran on this. They're gonna raise Kardashian dad from the grave. Like they're getting off on this.
There's just so many layers to this that I'm sure somebody has already acquired the rights. If we have any friends over at Hulu or Peacock, let's get the thing moving. I agree with you that it feels like a misunderstanding, and she'll probably get off. But also, you point a gun at a police officer and you don't walk. It's a real thing that they don't play with, the police,
I would agree with you, except there is some, not that Weezer in Southern California, Weezer is royalty. You know what I mean? I don't know if cops are listening. I don't know if cops have taken out of their CD changer since,
what's with these
Blue album.
homies dissing my girl.
Weezer, one of the worst, best bands of all time. So it's it's just, the whole thing is funny. Obviously I'm glad she's not dead, but the whole story is just like too funny and weird. And this is what you get for being a podcaster. That's my main takeaway, if she does in fact podcast, don't mix the Draco with the Zoom recorder. is what I'm saying. Those two interests are kind of at odds with each other.
To all of our listeners who are deep into true crime, serial killer stuff, let this be a cautionary tale and a lesson that when you go too far, when you put your hand in the tiger's cage, you're gonna feel a claw.
You're gonna get nipped. And in positive news, there's a new Pulp song and it's good.
Oh, really?
If you didn't see it yet, it's the first new Pulp song in like 25 years or something. But it's quite good.
And Stereolab too. Feeling
it's a
old.
big day for Chris. It's kind of there's a new.
Looking at the Pulp album, it's called More Pulp.
Yeah, it's too good. The cover's good. It's sick. Also, we got a Lord snippet. I don't know if you heard the Lord snippet. Lord seemed to be running through the park in New York and listening to, and then soundtracked by a snippet from a new song.
That's how it's done.
I gave you everything. Now we wake from a dream. Well, baby, what was that? What was that?
It is. She wiped her socials, and then it's go time. When the socials get wiped, I want to wipe my socials.
Little
one
mama
day.
wipe the socials. You want to wipe your? No, you don't.
Yeah, I want big things coming. You know what I mean? There's no other way to signify big things coming more than wiping the IG. That's it. I mean,
either big things coming or racist things being unearthed.
no.
So I got to get ahead of the wipe. I'm not saying for you. I'm just saying in general.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
delete.
When you see somebody do a sweep, it's like, oh, like Amelia Perez should have done the big things coming, is what I'm saying.
Oh, but that was Twitter is very different, Jason. Twitter sweep is very Twitter sweep is should be done with a fine tooth comb. And Instagram
So
wipe.
Instagram sweep, it's like, oh shit, we have a new album. Twitter sweep, it's like, oh, like the police are days away from arresting you.
Days away. Exactly.
Okay,
All
got
right.
it.
We have a guest today. Will is the front man of Car Seat Headrest. The new album is out soon. I don't know how soon. There's a single out now, but The Scholars comes out very soon. We were listening to it in the car in Eau Claire.
That's right.
Just over the weekend. So let's tap in with OG and see what he has to say.
Let's tap in with this OG.
Your room here, it looks almost like a Zoom background. For it's there's so much going on.
This is a movie set that professional set designers created, right?
Yeah, it feels too good. Like this is where I know you probably make music in real studios, but I feel like this really is where it starts.
Yeah, and this kind of is a set. This is I had a friend living here for about a year, and this is all their stuff. This room was completely empty when I was using it on my own. And I'm just pretty terrible at cleaning up after people move out. My old roommates they moved out about 4 years ago, and I just last week brought them back a couple boxes of stuff that were sitting in my living room for 4 years.
Well, Will, don't beat yourself up about this, because it's their responsibility to clean up all of their shit when they move out, not so much yours. But so that makes sense why there's a Brat poster on the back of your wall. This is not from you personally. I'm sure you're a fan of Charlie XCX, but your previous tenant put this up.
Yes. I like the poster. Good visual design. I haven't listened much, but yeah, I find it's.
You like the way the green plays with the black?
Yeah, I think, as you said, this makes me look a lot more hip, so I just leave it. But
what feels
my design, yeah.
What feels the most authentic to me, and I don't know where in the world you are, but the box fan feels like the most authentic piece of this whole.
That was
set.
my next call out.
It really is. It's.
I feel like I'm watching the Zac Efron film "We Are Your Friends." Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
Give it a look. It's not good.
Okay.
It's
but
really
it
bad.
sort of encapsulates like somebody, like a musician in their early to mid 20s.
Okay.
Just getting off I got a cracked version of Ableton from my homie, and we're gonna lay down some dope ass bass lines.
Yeah, the fan is mine. The fan is mine, so
Oh.
accurate perception.
Are you a guy that runs hot, or do you like the kind of white noise it creates?
No, I'm generally sensitive, so summertime hot, wintertime cold. I've got the heat on right now, but
Wait, where do you live?
I'm outside Seattle, across the bay.
Okay.
And it's really warm this spring. Pretty soon, probably going to be cracking out this fan.
Yeah.
Sure, it's going to be fan time soon.
But so right, like a few minutes ago, you said you used the word hip, which feels like an antiquated phrase for somebody of your age, and then you've got the box fan, and you know that there are a lot of modern advancements in the fan world. You've got a fan, from Chris and my childhood, in the 80s or whatever. So what else in your life? How else do you practice antiquated ways of living, or is it just the fan and your language?
No, I would say I'm fairly antiquated. Actually, this fan I got from my best friend who's in his 50s now. And
Shout out, big bro.
Most of my own interior design is pretty much a blank wall and an empty carpet.
Okay.
I keep telling our drummer Andrew that he needs to stare at a blank wall more because he gets bored pretty easily. But that's my practice of antiquated practice.
Great advice from the leader. All right, so
Yeah.
your best friend is pushing 50. What do you? Is this like a mentor or just a homie that you watch football with and drink beer?
Well, yeah, actually, it's kind of both. He's been kind of influential in guiding our band, and I was just a solo act when I came here, and he was pretty much the first person I knew here. And, so he was there when I was just independent, didn't have a label, moved here with my mom's minivan, and that was full of stuff. And that was pretty much it. And, within a year, Matador had connected with us. And my friend Billis was really influential in how I handled that. He told me, don't get a manager. Do it yourself and see how that goes. And I did do it myself for about a year or so, and then got completely tired of not having a manager. But it was helpful.
I was about to say you're the most not have a like. I cannot imagine you not having a manager. I know I've only known you for 5 minutes, but
No shade,
there's
mama,
shit that
no
you
shade.
do not want to be doing. I know that.
Yeah.
No
It's
shade.
just a personality type.
And the fine people at Matador are so fair. It's almost like you don't need one. I understand how you could get there, but you're saying some of those tasks, those day in and day out responsibilities, weren't jiving with your creative force.
No, but it was good to experience it because you want to know, if you're hiring people to do stuff for you, you want to know what they are doing.
Speak for yourself, but I feel you.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel you.
Okay, well, you should have not got into the music industry then, brother.
Right. But I mean, it does. I think running it, in that independent way, it does allow me to this day to kind of understand that it's like the choices that I make and that our manager makes. I don't just work in sort of a blank box and keep my creative bubble and let other people worry about it. I do try and pass stuff on to them so that they can act responsibly and not get tied up too much in the muck that can come with some industry dealings.
Yeah, I love the muck myself. I live in the muck. I'm like a damn pig. Just in there.
I'm gonna have to talk to my
give me
manager
the
after
slop.
this then.
But I understand that's not. But it is smart to. I mean, I think also depending on how young you are when you get started, it is easy for someone to come kind of sweep you off your feet and say they've got it handled, and then all of a sudden you're in a Lou Pearlman situation. You know what I mean? And you're in sync, and you can't find your money, and you don't want that. You don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And eventually, what we did is instead of hiring a big music manager, we actually hired someone that I had a contact with in college. So he was kind of just starting off at the time, and we were easily his biggest act. So we wanted someone who would represent us and not be coming from the music world and have us, in their piggy bank.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm glad you said no. I know Irving Azoff called and you were like, look, man, I can't. I'm not competing with John Mayer. I can't deal with this shit right now. We're gonna go with our buddy.
You didn't want to be playing backseat to the Black Eyed Peas or something on the roster.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, you deserve the light to grow that you need. Well, one quick call out at the beginning of your story. You said you have a friend named Billis.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how that's spelled, please.
Billis.
Just as I suspected.
Bill
Do you have
is-
any do you know anything about this? Can you explain? Is there a story? I've never heard a name like Billis before.
Yeah, his birth name was Bill, and I think that Billis is I'm gonna mess it up, a Swedish derivation of Bill,
Okay.
and because his dad's name is Bill too, and he got sick of it. He didn't want to be Bill number 2.
All right, so you're telling me your friend was like, my name is Bill, so is my dad. That's annoying. I'm gonna add Illis,
Yeah,
almost like illest, as if he were a rapper to the
Yeah.
end of his name.
be the illest. Yeah.
I'm combining William and Beavis into one word to get a Billis.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just a quick little side quest on the word Billis. That's all, Will. Thank you for indulging me.
No, that's good.
I wonder how I would customize my name, because there are a lot of Chris's out there. I just don't know what I could add to the end to give it some original flavor.
Another S.
I think you should just you should switch to Stouffer.
Yeah, sure. Stouffer is the popular. That's a popular one. That's there's also Topher Grace. Topher sounds, for lack of a better term, he sounds like a pussy. Stouffer sounds a little harder.
Stouffer is good.
Oh, yeah.
And they know how to make a
grabbing
meal.
that mac and cheese.
I was briefly perusing your bio this morning, and it says in your bio, self-described, maybe not by you personally, but maybe Aaron, young internet rockers. Are you an internet rocker that's young? And what does that mean?
No, that's not accurate. I apologize. Well, maybe we just haven't updated it yet. I started off. When I was born, I was pretty young, and since then it's just become less and less true. But yeah, I mean,
Man, you're doing Bob Dylan levels of poetic right now. I like it.
I started as a solo act when I was. I guess in high school, and it was very internet based, and this was kind of the early days of Bandcamp.
Okay.
And that was kind of really what it was the golden days of iTunes. And
Yep.
if you were an independent artist, at my age, it was not easy to get digital distribution. You couldn't really do that without a label. And Bandcamp was the first website where they just opened the doors, and anyone who, uploads those files, they go up online and anyone can access them, anyone can download them. So that was kind of a game changer. So I started doing that in high school, and I just continued doing that through high school through college, and there were band versions of Car Seat Headrest. It was me and my friends, and then some of my friends would graduate or get tired and want to do something else, and it would be me and a different set
They
of
would
friends.
get tired of me and kind of
They'd get tired of
my
me or,
lording over them, and then they would move on.
Yeah, it's hard to get high school friends and band and college students together, I think, to do much.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always mainly online.
Okay.
Were you playing shows, or are you saying it's mainly online in the way that that's kind of the only way you could experience it?
Yeah, we would do house shows. There was a pizza parlor in Williamsburg, Virginia, which is where I went to college. And they were kind of the hip joint. They were that you would play there, and that would be pretty much it.
This parlor is one hip joint.
It was a very hip joint.
I mean, Will, I was thinking about this the other day, but I think the first show I ever went to when I was 13 was in a pizza place. It's a historic. It's not only where Hillary Clinton eats babies. They have shows there. They do all kinds of stuff at the pizza places. So it's an
I like to go there after the baseball game.
after the big game.
So being an internet rocker, I guess I was more curious of it sounds like you're describing it as that's how the medium of your art was created with other friends, shared and distributed. But I was just wondering if the internet played any part in the musical element of it as well? Like, is there a style of like internet rock? You know what I mean? And if that is, I guess it's kind of you.
I don't think that there is. Yeah, I guess you'll have to check with Aaron about that. But you know, I did. You know, I was always sort of very open about how I was recording the music. So if I had a drum set and I could stick a mic in front of it, I would do that. If I didn't, I would log on to music.com, pull up some drum midis, just however I was going to get it done.
Music.com.
Yeah. Okay. So the in a roundabout way, the internet is the fifth Beatle and the early iterations of your band, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool to be like, oh, I don't have a drummer. I can just go on music.com, download some midis, and then you've got a boom, boom, pa.
Yeah, drummer.org. Yeah, because I just, however I could fill in the blanks in the music, basically, the internet allowed me to do that.
Yeah. What is up with long songs on this new record?
Yeah, bro.
You got some long boys on there, don't you?
Yeah.
How long is the longest one? Almost 20 minutes?
Oh, about 18, I think.
Yeah, bro.
And-
All right, calm down, Mac DeMarco.
Yeah.
All right, let's chill out now. 20 minutes.
Well, Will is crafting a rock opera,
of course.
whereas
of course.
Mac
you need
might
that.
not be.
You need songs that
And I
long.
will say,
Yeah.
I having listened to the songs as singles, they're able to stand on their own, which is something that does not usually happen in the few rock operas that I've listened to. You kind of have to enjoy it as an entire piece, but you would never know. So
Thank you.
well done, Will. Not
Thank
easy.
you. Yeah, that's always kind of our goal. That the album's gonna work as an album. You can listen to it back to front or front to back rather, and
Either way.
also have the individual songs.
Yeah.
So that was, I always kind of held out against doing a rock opera,
As most bands do.
as most bands do. I do, I've been a very album focused guy since I started listening to music. So that was always something that I knew of, but I also knew that can kind of take away from the song by song experience. You pull something off of the wall, it's not necessarily going to be, banging on its own. It needs that context. And I like
Banging.
when you can pull a song out and have that individual piece. So we wanted to strike that balance on this record.
Yeah. Matador probably wishes the rest of their bands would be thinking like you too, huh?
Right? Yeah. Well, I go into work. I do my job. Yes, sir.
Damn right.
Yeah.
They say you want. Let me get a single, and you say, "How long do you want it to be, Daddy?"
Yeah, we got 20 minutes. We got 3 minutes and 33 seconds. What do you need?
Yeah.
I got all flavors.
Yeah. Actually, no, it's funny. There was a big learning curve for single edits for me, because first we turned in Teens of Denial, and most of the singles there were 5 minutes or more, and Matador said, "Here, we've got these single edits for you," and I said, "No, I can do better." And we started recording completely different versions of the songs. Actually, the first thing we turned in was like an EDM remix of Drunk Drivers. And that was really, I thought that's what they wanted. It's like, that's what you hear on the radio. You don't hear indie rock on the radio.
Okay, so you weren't doing this to be a dick. You were in earnest. Like, this is what I think they're going to want to hear. So I've crafted a Black Eyed Peas style sounding version of my song.
I'd say it was like 50-50, where it's like the first 20 seconds of it, you're like, he's being a dick, and then it's like, oh, this is actually pretty banging.
Okay.
So
That's a cool
Yeah.
trick. If you can pull it off.
that's what I thought. Matador didn't think so. So we went in and re-recorded it again, and then Matador shipped out their edit instead.
Right.
And that was our biggest radio song. And so eventually I learned, just let them make the edits.
Hey man, I mean, it's the power of trusting your editor. It takes a little while to realize, and it's what they think and what you think, but it's really up to what all of your millions of fans think and identify with is what
Yeah.
the best choice should be.
Yeah, well, it's funny because this time they turned back in radio edits that were like 4.5 minutes long. And I'm like, what happened? You all let your hair down.
Yeah, you guys
For years, it's been 3 minutes, 30 seconds. And
everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. And the attention span's only gotten shorter, so I don't understand what that means.
I think it means they've given up on me.
That's possible, but not. I mean, maybe not now. You're in go time.
Well, also, if your songs are ranging between 8 and 18 minutes, 4.5 is they're putting the spurs to it. They really.
Well, yeah, no, I mean,
it ain't for lack of trying, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was prepared for more. But yeah, actually, Matador was gunning for the 11-minute single to come out first. I was surprised about that.
That's cool.
And there's at least one song on this album that's about 3.5 minutes. So they had that opportunity, but I think they just they liked the songs that they liked, and they happened to be longer ones, and they still have little bits. We just put out an 8-minute single, but the chorus is still hooky, and if the radio wants,
that's what I was gonna say. As long as the songs are, it always kicks into gear.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not like if you're meandering for 20 minutes, that's a very different thing than if that just means I get 12 choruses.
Yeah,
is the way I'm looking at it.
Just like Bob Dylan on Key West. It's 12 minutes long, but there's 12 choruses every minute on the minute.
Will, do you like Bob Dylan?
I do. I just was listening to the podcast where you went and listened to him.
It was one of the worst and most psychedelic things I've ever seen, but it doesn't change his legend status, of course.
So he didn't go on for 20 minutes and then sing the chorus to "Blowing in the Wind"?
No, and my friend Ezra, I talked to Ezra, and he was
I threw a tomato at him and everything, but he still wouldn't relent.
Okay. Ezra said he saw Bob Dylan 3 years ago, and he played nothing but hits. He played nothing but hits.
Okay.
But I guess he put out this new album. And so he's doing the thing that all artists do. Will, I hope you don't do this, where you play only new shit when your fans are there to, I'm going to be there headbanging to Drunk Drivers. I want to hear the new shit, but I need to hear a career retrospective.
Oh, well, too bad. You will hear Drunk Drivers. That's right now. Drunk Drivers is the only old song we've got in the set.
Bro, that's the only old song in the set? How long is the set?
We just like the new album too much because it all came from jamming stuff out together. And so it's got that band core to it. And we just don't want to go back.
I need to hear hippie.
No, I think that's cool.
No. I need to hear "Destroyed by Hippie Powers."
Well, you're going to hear that when they do the 20th anniversary tour when you're 66, bro. That's the whole point of it.
I'm 68.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bro, I am not going to Brooklyn Seal to see your ass when I'm 65, so you better figure it out now.
But I mean, I feel like every band does that. You record your new album that you're really excited about, that everyone has all the songs, you're all in the pocket together, you're finishing each other's musical sentences. You want to play that. You want to entertain yourself, and everyone, you throw a couple oldies on the second encore, and everyone's happy. And then in 20 years, when you're doing the geriatric fourth wave indie,
when we get the car seat headrest
tour,
the car seat headrest cruise, leaving from Fort Lauderdale,
powered by Monster.
Well, no, we'll just be on the Weezer cruise, though.
That honestly, yeah. Well, we were just talking about that. I don't know if you heard about what's going on in Weezer land, but it's not sweet.
Yeah,
right
the Reddit
now.
was blowing up today this morning, wasn't it, Will?
Okay. No, well, I tuned in, but yeah, I have no idea what you were talking about.
The Weezer's bass player, his wife pulled a gun or pointed a gun at the police here in Los Angeles in my own backyard, and the police fired a non-lethal shot and arrested her for attempted murder.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just filling you in. No need to comment.
Yeah.
The Weezer Corporation has deep pockets, so I think they'll be able to fight this.
Yeah.
And I do believe she's not going to do any time. I don't think she's going to do any time.
Okay.
But is Jason, is Weezer? Why do I think of them as an LA band? They're not actually, right? Aren't they?
I don't
from
know. I think they're originally not from LA, but I think as soon as they blew up, they definitely relocated and became a pretty LA centric band.
Embraced so much by K-Rock that they just had to relent.
Beverly Hills.
That's true. Maybe that's why.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Will, you were mentioning EDM. What kind of dance music do you like to listen to in earnest, not as a bit?
I didn't dig into the genre much, but I enjoyed Skrillex a lot.
Hell yeah.
And that one that he did with Justin Bieber, "Where Are You Now?"
Yeah.
One of the best songs of all time.
Great
Classic.
break. And Andrew has been more of an EDM head than me. And so when we work on music together and he's driving the car, it will always be more in that vein. But I mean, we're internet rock, and that's a part of it. You build up beats on
Dope
your,
ass beats
on
are
your
now part of
technology.
the internet rock. And
Yeah.
I like that. And I can really imagine you enjoying being able to see Skrillex for something more than what the average listener would listen to. And when I was listening to some older songs, maybe when the other members were driving the car, I noticed a little bit of some Radiohead style electronic percussion going on. What's your favorite Radiohead song?
Oh man,
I know it's a tough one on the spot.
yeah, that is a tough one. I remember in high school, my AP Lit teacher was asking me what my favorite Radiohead album was, and I said,
Nice low key flex that you were in AP. That's
Right?
nice. Yeah, hell yeah.
Not everyone got approved, but some
It
did.
wasn't worth it. Everybody was faking their papers. But I said, "Hail to the Thief," and he freaked out. He couldn't believe that. But that's got a lot of great songs on it. There is great. Go to Sleep is great. Title track is great. There's a flavor for every day of the year with Radiohead.
I
You
agree.
Can't really go wrong.
So your AP math teacher freaked out in a bad way, not in a good way.
AP Lit teacher.
AP
Well,
Lit, sorry.
it's hard to say. I guess I didn't have a whole lot of respect for him, so I kind of tuned out what he was saying most of the time.
You're like, look, I'm going to answer your question, but I don't respect you, so I don't care how you take the answer.
He's definitely going to be sending you a Facebook message tomorrow after he hears this episode, bro.
Right.
There's
yeah.
Fair
nothing
warning.
worse than a high school literature teacher asking you about Radiohead. Like, we get it, dude.
No,
You're
I'm
cool.
jealous. Like when I was in high school taking, English or whatever, my teacher had no idea who Radiohead was or the Pixies or Neutral Milk Hotel.
That's how it should
which
be.
maybe is how it
That's
should
how
be.
it
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be. That's how it should be. I don't want some guy trying to give me On the Road, Paperback, and Neutral Milk Hotel. You can't do both.
Yeah, I mean, you should. Noel, forget On the Road. They should be reading Shakespeare.
Damn.
He was not antiquated enough for me.
How much Shakespeare have you taken down, Will?
I took a good deal of it in college. That was kind of more my sweet spot. I majored in English, and I just, 4 years I was in a little bubble. The college I went to was William and Mary, which was founded in, I think, late 1600s and still had that flavor to it.
What intramural sports did you play, or was it just kind of literature?
Just literature.
Okay.
There's a radio station.
What kind of cosplay did you play though, Will?
None, but I did live between, or the Colonial District was between where I lived senior year and campus. So I'd be biking into town and be passing by horse-drawn carriages and
Wow.
colonial dress-ups and horse poop, and then I'd show up for school.
Have you ever referred to somebody that you were romantically interested in as Milady in earnest?
No, I haven't pulled that one out yet.
Well, Jason, now you just gave him an idea. That's the problem. Jason planted the seed. So you finished high school and college.
I did, yeah.
Oh, God bless. I don't meet many of your types that are in the industry that you're in.
Yeah, in waking life I have. Dream world I'm still not so sure. Still have high school classes. Yeah.
Did you have a plan of what you wanted to do with this degree from William and Mary?
Well, I guess complete my parents' plan of me being in college.
Got it. Are your parents like academic types, or are they just parents?
They're just parents.
Okay.
But they squirreled away so that we could get through college, me and my two sisters. And I just had a general terror about the world post school world, and had no idea what I wanted to do. So when I went into college, I just started taking courses that I liked. Ended up in English classes, minored in religious studies too, and then as far as building an actual career, I got a lot out of it. As a writer, I was able to absorb a lot of good material going out of it.
Yeah, it's not that far off in some ways, for sure.
You literally be writing on the regular.
You really be writing. And that's one thing about you.
And your parents knew, like, this kid ain't gonna get the football scholarship, so we're gonna have to start saving some coin.
Right. Yeah, they weren't
no
footballers
sports at all
either.
for you.
I enjoyed basketball.
That's cool.
I was not sporty enough. I was the injured kid.
The injured kid?
The injured kid,
I'm often injured.
The football hits your belly and you're sitting in the bleachers for the rest of the game.
Sure, you're doubled over.
You go cross-eyed, you're riding the pine. Okay, well, I guess on that subject, I also read in your bio you've suffered from some histamine imbalances and you had to make some dietary changes. I feel like I might have a histamine balance, and I'd like to learn a little bit more about that and what your diet is.
All we do on this podcast is talk about diets. That's not a joke.
Okay.
That's really not a joke.
No, it's a fun subject for me because every day I eat pretty much the exact same thing. Breakfast, I have oatmeal, black beans, carrots, broccoli, potatoes, and pumpkin seeds.
Have you wait, sorry to interrupt. Have you seen like on social media where somebody will post a picture of their food and the comment in a derogatory way will say, "This is what you give a dog on their birthday"? And so far, course number one feels like your dog's birthday. It's a fucked up meal, but a very whole meal with complex whole grains and fibers and a lot of great nutrients. Please continue, Will.
All right. Lunch, I do rice, black beans, carrots, broccoli, and potatoes, and pumpkin seeds. Okay. And dinner, I have the same thing. And I have an apple or two on top of that.
Okay, so
this has moved from what you give a dog on their birthday to what you give a horse every day.
Yeah. And turns out that's healthy.
Okay, so you feel great. And you're lean. I mean, you're running lean. I tell you what, the six-pack is probably bulging.
Oh, yeah. I can't even show it. It's
Don't show me. I'll get jealous.
Yeah, if you lift your shirt up, it'll probably crash my Zoom application.
Right.
How are you resisting the hummus platter backstage? Like, how do you go through life with all these temptations? You never have a latte?
No, yeah. I mean, that's a good point. But it's like... It was good because, I went through a phase, and it's a post-COVID thing. I started getting sick after getting COVID, and I got so sick that I decided I didn't want to be sick anymore. And actually, call back to Billis, he had the same thing happen to him a couple years earlier, and he figured out it was a histamine problem. And the list of histamine-high foods is completely random. It has some correlation to fermentation, so stuff like wine, alcohol, cheeses, yogurts, all of those are going to set you off. And then there's stuff like nuts, certain types of meat. And so he started weeding that stuff out of his diet.
A lot of nightshades.
Yeah.
Eggplants, berries, tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes too. Yeah.
Processed meats.
Yeah.
No shellfish, huh?
Oh.
No.
Will, I know you want to tear
vinegars,
up.
alcohols.
I know you want to tear up the raw bar. That's got to be killing you because you seem like a seafood tower guy.
Yeah, no. I mean, I used to be, frozen pizza out of the freezer.
That doesn't surprise me at all, if I'm being honest with you.
Right. It fits with the background, I think.
Yeah. It
okay,
does.
so how often do you ever deviate from this diet plan? Do you ever have a cheat day?
No, because I mean, a cheat day for me would be a suffer day. It's a very
All right, hold on. Let's get
binary,
it. All right, so I take you.
Yeah.
I take you to Balthazar. We're having a feast. We're celebrating. You're having whatever you want. What happens to your body, and how soon after ingesting?
Probably pretty quickly. Usually, I'll immediately start getting like a buzzing sensation in my mouth. And this was like, the first thing I'm going on is just like, what is going on? I feel okay. I wake up, have breakfast, and then it's like, you're supposed to get more energy from food, and instead I want to crawl back into bed. I'm suffering. It's like a reverse eating. You eat the food. The food goes in. Energy goes out of your body, and so it's replaced with this buzzing, with this sensation of sickness, then sensation of anxiety, and everything just kind of goes wrong. And when I was first dealing with it and just had no idea, so kept putting stuff in my body that it couldn't handle, eventually it turned into basically the extremes of sickness, nausea, vomiting, vertigo, just a lot of time I had to spend in bed because my body wasn't working right. And so now, with the regulation of this normal diet, if I have a cheat day or a cheat meal, I'm just going to not feel good for a day. I'm going to spend more time in the bathroom. I'm going to be able to think less straight. I'm going to be able to do less physically, and life will just become harder for me.
Right.
So it is easier to stay on the straight and
I see what you're
narrow.
saying.
Yeah.
Damn. It's weird because like there's a lot of foods where if I wake up and I eat pancakes or a breakfast burrito or some then I'm going to be laid down and I'm going to want to go back to bed and crawl, whatever. But you would feel this way if you have a pineapple and spinach and strawberry smoothie with some yogurt. Like those are all foods on the histamine intolerant list. So something that feels like it's going to give you some light fruit, vegetable energy boost, that'll also fuck you up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, probably. I haven't tried strawberries in a while, and I'm also, I'm just conservative about it because I don't want to waste my life eating the forbidden fruit. And I think that this kind of pleases my ancestors to just be on this super simple diet. Mm-hmm. I can come back to the same thing day after day.
I'm kind of jealous because this does streamline life, but
it does.
I guess, what is your drug and alcohol intake?
I take a Zyrtec every day, and that's it.
All right, so you're hitting the Zyrtec. I'm just saying, I'm trying to look because I'm sober.
Do you do Zyrtec recreationally though? Just real quick.
I wouldn't do it if. Well, I guess I have more fun with it.
I just don't. Where is the release? When does Will get
Zyrtec girls
when does
have
Will
more
get
fun.
to unwind? Is what I'm saying. Because you can't have a chocolate sundae. You can't have a couple lines of Coke. You can't have a Corona. What is Will doing to unwind?
I think maybe when a new puzzle comes in the mail and you get to crack that thing open, something like that.
No, and this was a big thing because even more than alcohol or drugs, like food was like a very big comfort source for me. If I'm having anxiety, if I'm struggling, grab a snack, grab something sweet, and but it never made me feel good.
Sure.
It's just sort of a turning away from problems and trying to engage in some sensory pleasures. And so I kind of turned more towards meditation while this was happening, more towards contemplative practices. And, it was a mentality of switching away from that mindset of, okay, when I'm stressed, I need to go do something. I need to go distract myself. I need to comfort myself. And more towards, okay, I like suffering now. This is phase 2 of my life. I'm pro-suffering.
I'm pro-suffering. I want to be 100% clear with you guys.
So most people make peace with the suffering. You say,
give me more.
Daddy liked the suffering a little bit.
Give me more.
Okay, few more questions. Okay, so that means at your house, there's always a pot of beans and rice cooking. There's always sweet potatoes getting chopped up and all that stuff. Do you have it meal prepped out into little containers that you just put the slop bowl in the microwave and then you start eating it? Or do you, is there a sauce at all?
No sauce.
Or are you
No
eating
sauce?
this raw?
No sauce. No seasoning.
What about salt?
I should use more salt. I don't have any salt. Actually, I don't have any food in my house at all right now. I've been like my friend Billis. He had sort of a crash last week. Back, he's had a long recovery process, and he's back in the crapper right now. So I've been over at his place, and we eat the exact same thing. So now we're just sitting on the couch peeling potatoes together, peeling carrots together.
Dude.
And so now
The life of a rock star.
all of my containers are in his fridge, and I just keep everything in a separate container. And every meal I grab my little food scale, and I measure out the exact amounts.
Dude,
and just stay regular.
I gotta say, how old are you?
Do you warm up the food at least?
I do. We do have a microwave.
How old are you?
Okay.
32, I think.
Man, you're vibrating on a plane that I will never reach, and I am deeply impressed by it. I am deeply impressed, because also the music is good. If the music sucked, I'd be like, this guy doesn't have it figured out. But when the music's good and you're living like a fucking monk, it's Jason and I are just chasing the devil all day long. We're wasting time.
I gotta say, I'm very interested. I want to go. Realistically speaking, 3 days on the Toledo diet plan,
Okay.
and just to see, as a reset, because people talk about doing like a 72-hour water fast, and like doing that, resets your body, and negative bacteria and viruses are naturally cleansed out by your immune system. Yeah. I feel like this almost feels harder than that.
Yeah, I mean, next album cycle, come to my apartment. I'll put you on the plan.
Okay, this is something we could package and sell. I don't want to get crazy, you know what I mean? But this feels like something we could package and sell.
This is really something. I mean, and you were not a fatty before. You were always this same body size, so you did not experience any drastic changes in your body at all?
Well, the most drastic were the result of sickness. So as far
you finally started feeling good again. But
I did, and I felt better than I ever had, because I always had gut pains. I always had dairy problems, but would still eat dairy, and I just went from this constant haze of shoveling food into my body and saying, that probably wasn't good. Well, try again next time. That probably wasn't good. Well, try again next time. To actually kind of knowing what food was doing inside my body as I put it in, and recognizing, it's hit that part of my gut. Now it's hitting that part of my gut. And just having an awareness of what was going on was a real game changer. But I
there's my spleen acting up again.
Yeah, I was a little overweight as a young kid, and then that was always kind of my inside. I was a thin guy, but I had swallowed a larger guy. And right now I'm just a normal guy.
Okay. Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. I think that might be an overstatement. But you're a guy, and you look great. You feel good.
Yeah.
You're producing at a high level. There's no downside to this. But I have to ask, because a big part of my life and Jason's life as well is socializing and going to restaurants and going to dinner. What do you do in those situations?
Yeah, and that's another big thing, is that is like number one way to socialize.
You got beans in your pocket, Will?
I just took a friend out to Uwajimaya the other day, and that's a Japanese grocery store out here that also sells food. And I just plan ahead. I eat beforehand, and then I sit and watch them eat. And
So all right.
I hang out.
Okay.
Do you at least enjoy a tea, perhaps, or is a tea a little too much?
Yeah, I mean, people always go with tea, and it's just hot water with some stuff in it.
My man, tea sucks. Hell yeah, you're part of the revolution. I knew you were. I knew you got it.
Big Willie gets it.
Do you drink coffee, or do you not have coffee?
No, caffeine's another histamine issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many hours of sleep we're getting a night?
About 8. Doing pretty good.
So, dude, you're okay. But when tour, are you able to sleep on the bus? Like, do you get the rhythm down?
Actually, we did one bus tour, and I was not, and none of us were happy. And since then, we've never toured with a bus again. That's been kind of our one.
Oh, private jets only, or what do we?
Yeah, private jets only. No, we just route it so that we can drive. And actually, this time we're routing it so that we do fly to every show, and it's just like one show every 2 weeks. So it's kind of not even a tour. It's more like a bunch of one-offs.
That's cool.
And we've really just been careful to plan ahead so that we know how we're going to be traveling. And that goes back to when I was handling the stuff myself and managing stuff myself. And actually we've never really worked with a dedicated tour manager. We've always just done stuff in-house. So if we're booking hotels, I will be the one on Google Maps looking to see what the parking lot looks like. Can you get a trailer around here?
See, when your gut is in order, you have time for stuff like this.
Exactly.
And also the
Time for
autism
planning.
helps as well. And on that note, Will, I was looking on the CSH Reddit, just doing my due diligence, and there is a popular image on there that says it's basically just the artwork of The Scholars, your new album, and above it says autism test. Is this image awesome? So, do you think you got a touch of the tiz?
As a label, I think it's useful for a lot of people. For myself, I've always just been trying to be a guy, and
Sure.
I think I think there's definitely an overlap of that precision, of that neurodivergence, and I'm happy that there are other people who ride on that wavelength.
Well put, Will. Well put.
I'm having a tough time. This is making me feel bad about myself in every way. And
Say more,
need
Chris.
this.
Say more.
I need to be. Every once in a while, we have a guest on this podcast that humbles us because of their approach to life, and usually they're at least a decade younger than us.
Okay.
And I just want to know what the difference is. What's the source? Where did I fuck up?
Yeah.
Where did I go left when Will went right?
I think Will is not afraid to look inwards.
That's true.
One thing, Chris, you're like on a bed right now. You're kind of slouched back. Get rid of that pillow and just sit right up, totally straight against the backboard.
All right.
Okay, Will, while he's doing that, can you explain, physically what you're hoping to achieve with this body position?
I'm in a hotel room, so this is my best option.
Yeah,
this is very uncomfortable.
Okay, so that's good. That's a good start. You don't want to be like kind of soaking up that comfort of the pillow, because actually that's going to make your body more and more uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because we're kind of made out of these bones and hard parts, and we get this sort of false impression when we're surrounded by soft things, kind of leaning back, pretending that we're a soft pillow too, but we're not. We need that sort of structure. We need that discipline within our body and muscles.
Hell yeah, bro. I'm not a soft pillow.
Right?
Hell yeah, you're right.
So stop sleeping on beds and pillows. Spend about the next hour.
Slow down.
Hold on.
You just went from don't lean back on a cushy comforter and then you went straight and tried to sneak in stop sleeping on beds.
Yeah.
Bro, you sleep on the floor?
I'm giving Chris the crash course, so I still sleep in a bed.
Okay.
If you really want to get your life together, sleep on the floor or sleep sitting up. But a good start is just sit with your back against the bedboard for about an hour. And that'll kind of get your chi going more properly. Your chi is sort of centered beneath your belly button.
Yeah.
And that'll allow you to breathe better. That'll allow you to get your own body in circulation. And, the more suffering, the better.
Mm-hmm. Run towards the pain, not away from it.
See, I think you're looking better.
All this stuff makes a lot of sense when you're solo dolo, but when what happens when a friend is over? You know what I'm saying?
Well, then they're sitting against the bedboard too.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this today. My
ones
wife
only.
is gonna be sleeping on the king size bed with the fret sheets, and I'm gonna be on the floor with the dogs. The dogs are gonna have more cushion than me.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have a hardwood floor in my bedroom, am I allowed to lay a blanket down? Like, what is obviously no mattress pads or anything like that, but maybe a large towel.
Yeah, I think a large towel is fair. But and I mean,
You'll
really,
give me
this
that?
is like, you really don't think a girlfriend, you don't think a wife is going to appreciate a man who sleeps on the floor?
No, I don't.
No,
I
I think so.
definitely don't. I mean,
I think
maybe if
she'll
they've-
be like, "That's cute for you and your little journey
Yeah.
that you're doing or whatever." But I'm gonna sleep on the.
But it's like the mouth tape or the nose strips or all that stuff. Women don't like that.
Well,
They're like, just be normal.
They don't like it, and then 3 a.m. the fire starts, or the dog escapes, or the burglar comes in. Boom, you're up like a light. Then they respect it.
That's
damn Will.
okay. All right. So because I can save your
This
life,
is amazing. You, after
Changes
hearing
things.
you speak for the last hour, I feel like you would be an amazing doctor. I just feel like you have a really good bedside manner and ability to explain complex, difficult things to people in a very kind and intelligent way. And also, if the music thing doesn't work out, executive life coach of some sort.
I'm hiring you right now. I know you have free
Yeah,
time.
All right.
whatever you're selling, we're buying. Will.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
And also you're a bag chaser because I say all this stuff and you're like, good, yeah, that's right, of course. Here's how to find success.
Yeah. What do you do with all your money? Because I'm not that you just you live humbly.
You're not spending it on interior decor. No offense.
You don't
No.
spend it on interior design. You don't spend it on food. You're going to the bulk barn. So what are we spending this cash on, brother?
That's been a source of concern for me. I've been trying to give most of it away.
To organizations you support or to
Maybe you are a little too Buddhist now, Will. Let's back the truck up just
yeah,
a little
hold
bit.
on.
Yeah,
you lost me.
yeah.
All right, you lost me on this one. But the rest, the health stuff, I'm with you. So you're saying where are you giving the money away?
I actually had to start sort of like a regular routine practice because it was something where it just built up in the bank, and then I'd be like, yeah, I should give some of this away, and then it just built up in the bank some more. Wouldn't be giving it away. So now, like, several times a week, I'll just go on GoFundMe, and that's kind of a great way to get in touch with what people are actually going through on the ground level. And I just I have a weekly quota because I don't like having money sitting in the bank. So I'll just
Will.
I'll search around America.
Hold
Well-
on. All right. So once the musical equipment is sorted out, you're kind of like, I know my baseline expenses because I eat the same thing. I do the same thing. So you're saying the rest of that within reason can be given away because you don't really have a use for it.
Yeah, exactly. And that was sort of, this is part of my practice where, I came up with a family and a culture that was very much, if you've got that comfortable amount in the bank, then everything is fine. And where I'm at right now is I want to push against that because I know I'm friends with people who have $20 in their bank account and they're alive. They've been alive for years, and I am missing out on a portion of life feeling like I can't live unless I have X thousand amount of dollars in my bank account. And, my estimates are still very conservative. I still keep a chunk in the bank, but I am pushing to push that money back out the door and not look twice at it.
Are you comfortable with sharing your weekly quota?
About 1,500.
Will for president.
Yeah,
is
dead
what I'm
ass.
saying. You're
Bro, given away. Okay, I mean that's honestly I don't know what to say,
Yeah.
and I talk for a living. I'm stumped.
you left a couple white boys speechless today, Will.
This
right.
is
Bravo.
when you go on Rogan, the world's gonna finally get to hear you. It's gonna be big.
I am afraid of that.
Yeah, you should be. No, you should be. But I mean,
Wow.
this is
you're
okay, so-
approaching assassination levels of you know what I mean?
This is okay. I
All
don't
right,
even
protect Will Toledo at all costs, listeners.
protect Will Toledo. And look, Will, the album's great. I've been a fan for a long time. So I'm, that I did not expect this today. I will say that, and I'm very glad that I was surprised.
Yeah.
I did have a couple more quick questions before we leave.
Sure.
One more reference to the car seat headrest Reddit page. There was another very popular thread titled "Who is your favorite car seat headrest critter?" And I think you might be the only band who has a cast of critters. Could you say more about these critters?
I honestly can't say that much because I think what they're talking about is sort of the album art that we have. We do have a rich cast of various critters that show up on our album art, and especially the artist Kate Wirtz, who has done a lot of art for us throughout the years, and we kind of both have the same vibe of like, oh, this looks kind of cool. Push it in that direction, and then after a certain point, it becomes the album art or the album cover.
Yeah.
And so neither of us are that kind of worried about like building up a lot of story about why anything is or who anybody is.
Basically, you're like, this shit looks cool. Let's rock.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I mean,
And
I'm just, whenever I hear somebody using the word critter, I'm drawn to it. It's just such a fun word that you don't hear so often.
Jason, I'm with
good
you.
word.
I'm with you. And I hate animals, but critter, it's fun.
Last question. You may have been asked this before in the past, so excuse me if it's dumb. When you're envisioning the actual headrest in the car seat, what's the make, model, and year of this car?
Well, I guess it'd probably be so one would be the 2000 Toyota Sienna, which is my mom's minivan, which I took over here and is still carting around somewhere.
Beautiful car.
And then there was also a Subaru, I don't remember, maybe it was an Outback that got totaled eventually. But those are the cars I was driving around in high school. And I was recording in there too. I'd take a little tape recorder in or my laptop in and record. And so that's where the name came from. It was part of my recording space.
The car seat headrest is what you would attach your mic into, and that would be the booth.
No, I was just kind of staring at it as I was shouting into my computer.
Copy that.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It was an illuminating convo, and I feel like we're all lucky to have heard you speak for the last hour. Well done. And the album comes out when?
I think May 2nd.
May 2nd.
May 2nd. All right. A few weeks away on Matador.
Mm-hmm.
Will,
All right, man. We really appreciate it. Honestly, it was great. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, very good talking to you too.